Welcome back. This is the Bad Radio puzzle. It costs about $1,000 if you can get your hands on it. Incredible build quality, limited edition, but we're not interested in that today. To prove that you don't have to remortgage your house to get an amazing puzzle, we're looking at 6 incredible puzzles for under $20. So I've been through our puzzle collection, I rated it, and I came up with my favorite 6 puzzles under $20. This was a really hard challenge to actually come up with these puzzles. The Hanayama range, full of good puzzles, very difficult to choose one of those. But these are all very interesting puzzles for their own reasons. My favorite, probably peppermint sticks, but we've got a nice mix here of wood and metal, old and contemporary puzzles. So let's take a closer look at the first one. So I'm going to have a quick look at these 6 different puzzles. I'm not going to show the solutions straight away, but if you do want to see those, I'll show those after I've reviewed the puzzles. First up, we're going to be having a look at the math snake. So this consists of 7 wooden blocks connected on a chain, which gives it that snake name. Each one can be spun round. And we've got 4 blocks with single digit numbers on them, and then we've got 3 with the operational signs. And what you've got to try and do is to make the equations on each of the 4 sides true at the same time. So there's 1,024 permutations for this one, but only one solution. Fairly tricky, but I really like this one that you can really just have a shot. Anybody can have a go at this if you can do basic maths. There is no priority given to the operational symbols, so division and multiplication does not get priority over addition and subtraction. You're purely working from left to right. Next up, we have the Rademic Retro puzzle. So this is made by a company, Rademic, from the Czech Republic, and it's a traditional puzzle there. The aim is to free this little wooden hedgehog. You might think it looks like something else, but we're sticking with hedgehog from this cage here. So a fairly tricky puzzle. This is their kind of entry level. They do more premium versions in some like brass and aluminium and such, but this one, fun, affordable, and fairly tricky. Next up, we've got Tangram. So this is a real classic puzzle. It's over 200 years old, and this version is made of nice, solid, thick pieces of wood. There's 7 pieces, and the basic challenge will be to try and make a square in the frame provided, but you can make thousands of different designs out of these pieces. You can make all sorts of shapes. You can try and make animal and people. So very entertaining, and you can get a couple of these and then have races to see who can make the shape the fastest. This is an interesting one. The aim is to try and make a symmetrical shape from these 3 metal pieces. This one comes from Vladimir Krasnikov, and he's got a series of 4 different puzzles similar to this, where you've got to try and make a symmetrical shape. There's only one possible solution to this one, and it's not that easy to find, so it might keep you busy for quite some time. Is it one of my top 6 puzzles? Yes. So one of the hardest parts of this video was actually choosing a Hanayama puzzle to include. They've got loads of great puzzles, but in the end I went for Spiral. This one's a really nice puzzle. There's 5 pieces. You've got to try and separate them and put them back together again. When you first pick it up, you might think the pieces are just going to fall apart in your hand, but they separate a little bit and then get stuck. You've got to try and work out what's going on and how to get them apart. They rate this as 5 out of 6 stars on their difficulty scale, so definitely down the harder end of the spectrum, and I love this one as a little gift if you want to give it to someone and keep them quiet for a while. Last but not least, we have the peppermint stick. So this is a very fun puzzle to play around with and super satisfying to solve. It consists of 4 strands. They're made of metal in this version. It also comes in a 5-strand version, but today we're looking at the 4-strand version. You can take the pieces apart, simply slide them over each other, and they come apart into the 4 strands. And now you've got to work out how to get these back together again. So the math snake, this one's really fun. So you can see here, we've got the numbers 1 to 4 on the left hand side, so that's what we're aiming to achieve. Here we've got 3 plus 3, so we'll be looking at 6 times 2 is 12. And remember, on this one we're just working from left to right. We're ignoring any priority for multiplication or division. And in order to get this particular one to solve, I think what we're going to need to go for 1 times 1 plus 3 would give us 4. Then let's see, 2 divided by 2 is 1, divided by 1 is 1, correct. 7 minus 4 is 3, so that's correct. And 4 minus 3 is 1 times 2, gives us 2. So there we go. There's 1,024 possible permutations for this one, and that is the correct solution. So I think these come in lots of different varieties. So the math snake doesn't always have the same calculations on it, sometimes different. Pretty fun, easy to play with, and I think if you can do kind of basic arithmetic, then this one is a really nice puzzle. Everybody can have a little shot at it. Pretty easy to know what you're aiming for. The retro, so this one, they come in lots of variations. This kind of hedgehog in the cage style of puzzle. Some of them have got different solutions, unique solutions, sneaky things that you have to do in order to get this out of here. This one though, it's fairly simplistic. When we have a look around the cage, it all looks the same, but in fact one of these openings is larger than the others. And even me just looking at this now, I'm struggling to see it, but I think we're here. And this spiky little hedgehog does have a few less spines on one face than the others. And if we try and find that one and then start just spinning the spikes through, you can rotate it round. And if you keep rotating it, working the spikes through, we end up managing eventually, can I do it, to free the hedgehog. So there we go. Not the most difficult, but it is quite tricky. If you've not seen this kind of puzzle before and you don't know what you're looking for, then this one might seem a lot trickier than it is if you have seen them before. So the spiral puzzle, this one's really fun. So the pieces slide apart, as you can see, like this, and then they lock out. So obviously what we're dealing with here is a taper on the connection between the pieces, so it allows them to go a certain distance, and then as the connection there gets a bit shorter, thinner, they lock out. And it seems kind of impossible as you start playing with it. It always seems like you're going to get close. It almost seems like a piece is going to pop off, but then just doesn't come out. So in order to get this one to come apart, what we need to do is slide all the pieces down with the logo piece that's got a little Hanayama stamp on it here, held at the top. Then I'm going to hold on to these top two pieces and hold on to the third piece, and with those top two pieces in place, I lift up that third piece, and with a little twist, otherwise these two are going to lock back up together again, they all come apart. From there, you can just find the way that these pieces all slide apart. And getting them back together again is pretty simple if you happen to have them all in the right order. If you start to mix them up, then you're looking at a different challenge altogether. Try to get these back together again, but not too tricky like it is. That's the spiral puzzle. Okay, the yes puzzle. So this is a really fun one. I don't come across many puzzles where the aim is to try and make a symmetrical shape, so it's quite an unusual end point. This one, my initial thoughts would be to try and interlock the pieces like this. So we've got a symmetrical shape there, but then adding this piece on just doesn't seem to fit anywhere. Obviously this S is the one that's causing the awkwardness because it's hard to add it anywhere where it seems like you've got to achieve symmetry. So the solution for this one is actually, I think, quite tricky to find, and it looks something like that. And even there, you might not initially see where the symmetry is. We'll put a line over the top so you can see it comes down here, over here, in, and through. So a really fun one. Simple when you've seen it, but not very easy to find that one at all if you're just playing around with this for the first time. It's a real classic Tangram. I really like this one. It's got endless possibilities, super fun to play around with. So we've got 7 pieces here. The aim to get this square is the first challenge, but that's not that difficult. Fairly achievable if you're playing around with it for a little while. So I thought I'd just maybe show you a couple of other fun shapes that we could try and do. So how about a person riding a horse, which looks something like so. Or we could go for a cockerel perhaps, or a rooster. Is there any difference between a cockerel and a rooster? I don't think so. Let me know if there is. That looks something like that. So loads of challenges. This set came with quite a few different challenges for me to try and attempt, but there's also loads of resources online where you can find hundreds, if not thousands, of different designs for you to try and attempt. And as I mentioned, pretty fun if you did want to get a couple of these and then set challenges to see who could do this in the fastest time. So there we go. This one was Tangram. And finally, peppermint stick. So this is one that I have on my desk and I can't stop fiddling around with it all the time. As you can see, it looks like a candy cane. We'll take it apart and then we've got 4 of these identical metal strands and we've got to try and get them together. So at first, you're gonna probably try just building it up one at a time. So there we go. But it's quite hard to get them to interlock in just the right way. It just doesn't seem to rotate quite the right way in order to get them to lock up. You can't get that fourth piece in there. So what I like to do is to pair them up, 2 pairs, twist them around each other to start with, and then to get them to connect together, I just line them up and slide the 2 sets of 2 together to solve it. So very simple when you see it, but actually trying to do this can be a little bit tricky, and they just move in such a satisfying way. They just kind of glide over each other, and very fun, for me at least, to play around with this one, take it apart and put it back together again. So peppermint stick, probably my favorite out of these 6, but I love them all. Let me know which one's your favorite. So if you're looking to fill a stocking or something like that, then these might make a good option. But all that aside, hopefully today what I've proved is that you don't have to spend the earth to get a great puzzle. There's videos out there showing off these $1,000, $2,000 puzzles, and while those are incredible, amazing works of art, and I love watching the videos and seeing these puzzles, you can spend under $20 and get yourself something that's challenging, super satisfying to solve, and very fun. Hopefully you've enjoyed the video. If you have, hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you in the next one.